Look, I don't want this to be This Week in Abortion. I really don't. I actually know a lot of secular women who have mixed feelings about abortion. That being said, mixed feelings is a long ways from wants to outlaw. And like it or not, abortion is the not-so-thin wedge into rolling back women's rights across the board. And if you don't believe that, look how seamlessly they transition from the fight against abortion to the fight against contraception in all forms. So yeah, self-appointed Georgia Governor Brian Kemp went ahead and signed that impossibly onerous abortion bill we talked about last time. Under the new law, which is set to take effect on January 1st, it will be illegal for a woman to have an abortion as soon as a fetal heartbeat is detectable, a thing that generally occurs before a woman could conceivably know she was pregnant. The only exceptions it carves out are for life-threatening pregnancies and cases of rape and incest, provided that they were reported to the police at the time. So if you want an abortion in Georgia, you just have to go in and have a preemptive one every month and a half or so. Now, there's no question that under the current law, this is unconstitutional. The Supreme Court has been striking down far less cumbersome restrictions for the last 50 years, and there's no question that any previous court in my lifetime would do the same to this one. But this isn't any of those courts. And the whole point of this fucking law is for it to wind up in front of the Trump-packed High Court. Hell, Georgia's been in an almost open competition with Texas to be the state whose unconstitutional laws unravel reproductive rights. Now, off-the-record assurances to Susan Collins aside, there's every reason to believe that this court will overturn Roe the first chance they get. It's possible they'll want to do it incrementally, in which case this law might still get struck down with a polite note from the originalist asking for a slightly less illegal test case. But one way or the other, the anti-abortion sharks smell blood in the water, and there's good reason for them to be excited. But there may still be hope, as we saw in Kansas last week. The state Supreme Court there was presented with a case that effectively banned all second trimester abortions by banning the most common and safest method used for them. The law, diplomatically called the Kansas Unborn Child Protection from Dismemberment Abortion Act, was passed in 2015, but was immediately blocked by a district judge. Over the last few years, it's worked its way up to the judicial chain to the state Supreme Court, which basically took a look at the law and said, not only does this violate the Constitution, it violates the goddamn preamble. That's right. Their legal argument is that the law violates the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness part. And I'm no legal scholar, so I can't really comment on the legal merits of the argument, but the logical argument seemed pretty fucking sound. Of course, never wants to be deterred by the realization that they're violating basic human rights. Anti-abortion activists are now shifting tactics in an effort to add an abortion ban to the state's constitution. So don't worry, I'm sure I'll have some bad news soon to offset this story. And until then, I'll hand things back over to Noah and Heath.